some kind of resistance within the region to that. What steps do you believe we can take to ensure that these mechanisms can be widely accepted and confidently implemented?
Thank you so much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Let me first start by saying it's a great pleasure, privilege, and honor to be here representing FIDIC at this inaugural event. I believe this will be only the start of a series of joint collaboration and events and so forth. And I think we probably have an announcement to make towards the end of the session. I'm trying to avoid some overlapping with parts of fellow panelists said. So I'll try, before answering how can we make the adoption rate increase or resistance decrease, I'll try and briefly cover three main points. First, the main reasons behind this adoption reluctance, if you say, about dispute adjudication boards. It's not a secret that DABs are not widely adopted in UAE and perhaps in the wider Middle East. In my view, there are several misconceptions and negative common practices that contributed to this lack of buy-in. These include lack of awareness of the DAB benefits, especially the standing DABs, while they are definitely in the party's best interest. Misconception seeing DABs as an extra process leading to delays, unjustifiable extra cost, and in most cases a threat to the employer's control over the project. Stakeholders' limited capacity and capability, including lack of qualified, unconflicted DAB members in the region. Employers' common reluctance to involve a third party, being the DAB, to make binding or with the power to make binding or final and binding decision on disputes. And this is not, surprising, and it's aligned with the tendency of employers to limit the role and authority of the engineers under the FIDIC contracts. There's also the tendency to delay payments or delay resolution of disputes until the end of the project, assuming this provides the employer with more leverage and a better negotiating position. Unfortunately, the fact of the matter is all the stakeholders are culprits. To a varying degree, they all contribute to the current status of lack of adoption. And I think you probably all heard that joke. I heard it myself. So employers go to heaven and contractors / engineers go to hell. This is not always true. Employers are not angels, and nor contractors are devils. So there is a role on each of the stakeholders to play, and obviously this is where I would say FIDIC comes into play as an integrated suite that could help instill this necessary ADR option into the UAE and the Middle East construction market. So FIDIC contracts arguably are the most widely used forms of standard construction contracts globally. Not only that, but they also were one of the pioneers that used DABs back in 1995 as part of the Orange Book that preceded the Silver Book. In 1999, the first edition of the Rainbow Suite, we had the standing DAB, there was only one A, as part of the Red Book, and ad hoc DABs as part of the Yellow and Silver Books. In 2017, the second edition of the Rainbow Suite, all the three books now have standing DAABs, and the additional A stands for Avoidance. And this was emphasized in the 2017 suite and the 2022 reprint. Dispute avoidance under FIDIC contracts does not start with the DAB under the 99 or the DAAB under the 2017. It starts with the engineer. The engineer has a central role to play in dispute avoidance. And that was more emphasized and given more central stage under the 2017 suite. The engineer, for those of you who are unfamiliar with FIDIC contracts, is a third party appointed by the employer to administer the contract. But the engineer under FIDIC contracts is under the obligation to act neutrally when it proceeds to agree or determine claims, and also make fair certification of payment. So the engineer, as I said, has now a more central role in avoiding disputes and fostering agreements between the parties before those claims or disagreements escalate and go into a full-fledged dispute. And the engineer also, under the 2017 suite, channels the parties' access to the DAABs. Now the DAABs, as I mentioned earlier, now have an additional A, and this stands for avoidance. Under the 2017 suite, more emphasis to the avoidance role is given. It was originally there, but not as prominent under the 2017 suite. And now the DAAB can provide informal assistance to the parties to resolve their dispute.